Namaste, my Zenziers, my merry mermaids, my merry mermen. I know you're out there. Unique unicorns, my Bella butterflies, my Bella butterflies. Um, my dream makers, my Namaste ninjas. I said Zen zebras. I think that's it, right? I think that's it. Anyhow, I am here, and I was like, I better get to my book and my notes because it's getting dark out, and I already did the reading 6 months ago, and then I want to talk about the Netflix Jon Benet Ramsey, the Netflix show. For those of you who, I'll probably put that as the thumbnail after this is all done. It's not going to be long pages, but first let me talk a little bit about Netflix. What I think, and this is in my opinion. Hi, Terry. I just did a reading on Sebastian. Go back in I did so many readings on Sebastian, but I got up to the part right before Thanksgiving about him being near a bridge that had like bent, curved metal, and I have like 4 bridges that I'm researching. But go back to my work, just put in Mystic Brady, 2024 readings, Sebastian Rogers. It's there. I have a lot on him, but right today want to do this. I've had these notes for 6 months, okay? Maybe even more. Probably more. Yeah, more than 6 months. Anyhow, I felt it necessary to talk about Jon Benet Ramsey because it's never been solved. And what I'm going to say might go against that. The DNA doesn't match. It might go against regular logical facts because I am a psychic medium. And this is my opinion, and I could be wrong. So I'm not saying this, put this in gold and this is true. Only God has 100% of the story. And the people who are in that house know most of the story. Okay? And 2 of them are in heaven. Jon Benet and Patsy, her mom, are in heaven at this point. So I'm going to go with my opinion, and I might have to get out of my car to take off my jacket because it's getting hot. Okay? I'm in Texas. It is chilly for Texas, but I got the heat. I get hot when I feel spirit coming in. So if I'm very distracted, it's because I really want to get the notes done before it gets too dark and I have to go home. So I had watched a lot of stuff on Jon Benet Ramsey. I had studied her case way back in 96 when it happened, and my son was born in 93, so in 96 he was only 3, and my daughter was I guess 8 or 9, going on 9. So I remember that case very, very, very succinctly, specifically. And, I commiserated with the family. I commiserated with the son, the son being left to live his whole life without his little sister. And I don't think a lot of people think that he was sad about it because I think he's on the spectrum. I don't know. I am a teacher, and I watched him for many, many hours of footage, and I did see him when he was 9 years old. Guys, it's going in and out, so let me just put you there for a second. Let me get comfortable. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so let me just tell, I think there's only 2 people here, but that's okay. I don't do my readings for, to have a big amount of views. I don't do that anymore. I used to do that. That used to be important to me, but then angels, my guides told me, don't worry about that anymore. Like, if I were to die tomorrow, would I really care how many views I got? No, I wouldn't care. I would care if I touched a lot of people's lives. I would care if people want to watch my videos that are already out, and it would actually help them. So what matters in life is who you helped, not how many views you got, how much money you got. The Ramseys had a lot of money. I don't see them being happy. So when I watch videos and movies, I could put my hand on the screen. Either I get up and I put it on the television screen, or I put it on my iPad or my phone. I make the person's eyes real big, and I put my hand there, and I see what I absorb. It's all a part of channeling for me. That's how I channel. That's my process. And I also say, please, dear God, protect me on, allow me to see what I need to see, what's helpful for me to see, in order to solve the case, but keep my family protected, keep me protected, because Lord knows I don't need any more nightmares. I have nightmares almost every day and night. If I fall asleep, if I'm sick during the day, that's why I hate being sick. Like, even with a head cold, and like you take cold medicine, or you just have to rest, or COVID, and you rest during the day, I still have nightmares during the day. So I don't know, maybe I was a bad person in another life, because I've had nightmares since I was a little kid. And I remember my Uncle Charlie saying to me, we were on a trip in the Poconos, and of course I couldn't go to sleep. But there was a lot of reasons I couldn't go to sleep. I was in a room with my mom, with my mother, and my sister Susan. I think my sister Christine was there. I'm not 100% sure. And they were all like happy to go to sleep. I could hear my mother was awake. And she was very good, because she was awake, because she was thinking of her problems, but she would never burden me with them, or burden anybody with them. So she knew I was awake, so she would say, just listen to the radio. But I don't think we had a radio. And because it was so quiet in the Poconos, and there was there wasn't enough noise going on, it was terrible to just lay there for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. I just remember sleeping over my friend Christine Valvik's house. Same thing. She would fall asleep by 9 o'clock. I was awake. Even though I was in the bedroom, I'm awake thinking of scenarios. She had stuffed animals in plastic bags to keep the dust off of them. And I don't know if that was her mother's idea or her idea, but at night, I think one night I was awake all night, and it freaked me out. They were in plastic bags. I took them out of their bags. She would get so mad at me when she would wake up. Anyway, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I have no idea why I suffer the nightmares, but maybe because I watch these things into the night and then I go to sleep. I'm always trying to figure out, what happened. So basically, the Netflix show, I don't agree with it. Okay. All right. And maybe even if you haven't seen it, it's the same narrative that what's his name, Jon Ramsey, has been going with for years and years and years. And again, this is allegedly, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. It's not based on facts. Some of it, facts are there, but most of it is based on my feeling. Okay, I'm giving you my educated feeling and also my psychic feeling. Okay. So if you want to go back to what I did a couple of years ago, I have the pink shirt on. It says psychic, right? And I'm burning a lot of Palo Santo and white sage. I was very freaked out back then. I'm not so freaked out because I have spoken to Jon Benet, and I don't care if you believe me or not. I believe me. I believe in me. Okay. And I have spoken to Patsy. Patsy is much more vocal. And what she said to me is like, I said, why was your house a mess? Like, if you guys were so wealthy. And I'm not pouring shade because I used to be a lot neater and than I am now. And, it's not so neat. But I'm not living alone, with just my stuff. Anyhow, she said to me, Katrina, I had cancer, and that, I did have a housekeeper or housekeepers. I think she had a couple. Like maybe one was an assistant. She's kind of shown me like an assistant, and somebody else that kind of did everything. One was more of an assistant, like to her and to Jon Benet, like, because they were trying to gear up her career. Yeah. And she feels bad about that. She says, like, because I was a beauty queen, I put that on my daughter. And because I was sick with cancer, even though I was in remission, I was in a rush to see the glory of her going through that. But what I really should have done was allow her to be a kid and not worried so much about that situation. This is what she was telling me in my head. Not just today, yesterday. And when I channeled her a while ago, she was much more like, what was it, 2 years ago or a year ago? She was much more, I don't know if you would say upset or... And I'm sorry, I can only see one person in the chat. I can only see Terry. I don't know why my chat doesn't work anymore. So there's only 6 people in here. That's okay. That's all right. Whoever's meant to see it live sees it live. Anybody else will see it later. Those who don't care, don't care. Okay. When I had channeled Patsy and Jon Benet Ramsey is hard to channel. Ask anybody who's a channeler, anybody who's a psychic that has tried to tap into her energy. And there's a lot. She had a 6-year life here on Earth, and it was stressful. And she had moments of goodness. But when she talks to you as a child. She's not quite 6. But she's not in her 30s either. She's presenting to me, she presents as a child because, I guess, one second, I'm going to sneeze. Oh. Does anybody else have this problem? I'm scared to sneeze because when I sneeze, it feels like my brain is going to come out of my skull. What does that mean? I know I'm crazy already. I know I'm crazy, but it literally hurts me. I get scared. I get like a panic attack. So I try to like blow my nose more and clear my throat more because when I sneeze, right now, it's like a head banger. It'll help. I'll get better. I'll get better. Thank you, God. I know you're watching over me. Help me to get Archangel Gabriel. Please help me to communicate what I need to express in a clear way, in an articulate way. In Jesus' name, thank you. See, there's always these stoppers. My chat is it just says one person, so maybe nobody else is in the chat. It's okay. So basically, the last time I talked to Patsy Ramsey, she was very irritated. And I think a lot of people thought that she did it. And when I did the dowsing rods, I went through everybody. But then I have to weigh out as a psychic and to be a responsible reader. I can't just do the cards. I can't just do the dowsing rods. I can't just do psychic thoughts. I also look at facts. I also look at so many hours of videos because that's how I learn. That's how I absorb things. That's how I pick up people's energy. And that's why they're in my dreams. Okay? And they spend time with me. It would be irresponsible as a reader, in my opinion, I guess maybe because I'm Virgo, but it would be irresponsible if I just say, here's my dowsing rods results, and that's it. No, I have to go because sometimes I'm getting something on the dowsing rods, and I didn't feel like it didn't match up with what I was feeling psychically. You know what I'm saying? So I have to always use all of those areas. I have to put everything together almost like a tossed salad. I have to mix the croutons of, dowsing rods, which I stopped doing the dowsing rods for maybe a year and a half because I felt like I was getting the wrong answers or I wasn't tapping in to the right spirits, if you will. That's scary. It's scary. But I started again with them. But I always use them as an addendum, just like I use cards as an addendum and everything. Do I like using that word addendum? Yes, I do. I certainly do. Okay. I'm probably using it incorrectly. Maybe not. I do have a master's degree in English. Okay. Well, I'm just saying I use everything as an extra to kind of check out my work. But what I really go with is what I feel inside. And I don't want it to be anybody in the house. Of course, I don't want it to be Patsy Ramsey. I don't want it to be Burke, and it isn't. And I don't want it to be the father. Okay? Notice what I did there? I don't want it to be. Of course. I don't want it to be, but this coffee tastes like it was at the end of the pot, but I love it. I do love it. Okay, anyhow. But I drink it black, so it's really strong. So I might be up for 3 days. Okay. Anyway. See, that sneeze still hurts. Does that mean anything? Oh, God, it's not happy. It's not fun getting old. Even a sneeze hurts. Okay, so I'm going to just go on with what, I don't know why my chat never works anymore. Is this thing on? Yes, 18 minutes I've been on. And I only see one person saying, could you do a Sebastian reading? If anybody else is in here, or even Terry, can you just say something else? Because I don't know why nothing is moving. Like just the time and it says live. I don't know what to do. Let me pin your message. Okay, I pinned your message. Yeah, see, that's the only message I got. Maybe there's nobody in here. Okay, all right. I'm not going to be paranoid. But if you happen to come in, could you please give me a red heart or a purple heart for Jon Benet? Just so I know somebody's here and that it's working correctly. Okay, let me go. If you're on TikTok, I'm also doing a couple of short videos on TikTok. But it's just like, I can't concentrate in the house anymore. There's something going on with the energy in the house between the dogs and my husband talking to me. And I know some people are going to say, you're so mean. Your husband can't talk to you. Your stepson can't talk to you. No, they could talk to me. But I just feel like I wait till the end when they go to bed. And then I'm too tired. I've been lazy or tired. And one second, guys. 1 second. Okay. See, that he just called me and that phone call knocked me off. All right. So now we're back to just one person in the house, or is there 11 people here? Okay. I don't know if anybody is seeing this. I don't have any mods in here. If you are my friend, please just say hello. Okay. All right. Okay, that's better. All right. So I'm just going to read my notes and then we'll discuss it. So the Netflix show, I believe, was all Jon Ramsey, that's his daughter, and he referred to her as his grandchild. Okay. Now, those of you who don't know, Jon Ramsey had a daughter from his other wife, right? His first wife. He had, I think, 2 daughters and a son. And one daughter got into a car accident with her fiance, with her boyfriend or fiance, and both of them were killed. And I think Jon Benet was a year old at that point. Something doesn't add up for me on that. Okay? Yeah, it's true. It's a fact. I don't know. I just don't know. Like, I don't even know what I'm speculating, but something is not fitting with, like, his emotions, like, or lack thereof. I understand, not everybody wants to cry on TV, but he's been on TV and newscasts so often. You never saw him shed a tear. You saw Patsy Ramsey cry a lot of times, I think. I believe. Anyway. So, when I write down the person's name, I have to write it down. What? Oh my God. Oh my gosh. So when I did this reading, I pulled out these cards, crime cards. But this was like over 6 months ago, so I've been using that deck without the cards. Well, I told you, I use a lot of different things in my readings. 11 people in the house, well, 15 people in the house. Could anybody please try to put something in chat so I could see the chat? Because I only see Terry Harmon, and I don't see anybody else. I guess my chat is broken. I don't know. Okay. So I will read those cards afterwards. But the Netflix show it's stupid. They spend so much time. I feel it was dumb because they spent so much time, Burke, the son, Jon Benet's brother, would not talk. But her stepbrother, her half-brother, Jon Ramsey's other son, that had a different mother, he didn't live in the house with her or anything, but he was on the Netflix show. And if you didn't see it, go watch it, because you'll at least see the house and the condition the house was in. For people to be very, very wealthy, like, everything was in disarray. It was not neat at all. It was like a lot of expensive stuff, but then not in order. And now I could say that because my mother had 6 kids. I'm one of 6, right? And my mother had the whole house cleaned and laundry on, laundry folded by 11 o'clock, and things ironed. Back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, people used to iron things, and there was a lot of times we had to go to the laundromat because the washing machine was broken. And we didn't have a dryer till many years later. So she would hang everything out on the line. But what I'm saying is, we lived in a big house, and she used to tell me, you could be finished with your housework by 11. Then what are you supposed to do? That's what she used to say. And then I always felt incompetent because I never could get finished by 11. I don't know how she did that. I don't know how. And then we would go to the store, and then she would have dinner organize. I don't know how this woman did it, but anyhow, she did it, and she was like, if you push yourself on a schedule, you could be done, and by early time. I know that Patsy had cancer, and Patsy also was managing her daughter's career, but she also had housekeepers. So were the housekeepers not doing a good job? Or it just, to me, it looked like, because I have a messy studio, right? Which is also my dining room, which is also the computer room, right? So Devin's on one half of it and I'm on the other half of it. And when the table is messy, it's my fault because I have to have my canvases dry somewhere. But the thing is, I started buying like plastic containers, and I used to have houses that I lived in where I had a basement, and a certain part of the basement I had my art supplies, and because I always painted, I always did artistic stuff. And you have to have like, those drawers where you put your paints or a cabinet. And I'm just surprised they didn't have it organized. They had plenty of rooms. So maybe, a lot of people say disorganized thinking will make your house into disorganized. Okay, that was just one point. Their rooms, Jon Benet's room and Burke's room was so far apart. It was crazy. And in relation to where Jon Benet, Mr. and Mrs. Ramsey slept, it was like, wasn't Jon Benet like scared to be all by herself? Like she was a little girl, like, and so was Burke. He was a little boy, but like, I don't know, my kids, especially my daughter, she would always like tell me, go like this, and that meant come into the bedroom and read her 5 books. Okay, and then when we moved into a bigger house, we moved from a condo to a house, she did that a couple of times, and she always wanted her little brother to sleep in her room because in the condo they were in the same room, and that made her feel better. But then when she was in her own room, because my son wanted his own room, and he was like 4 and she was like 9, she wasn't used to it at first, so I would go in there and talk to her, and she was 9. But that's what I'm trying to say is, like, the house structure was like so far apart and scary. So like I did try to think, was this an intruder or a neighbor or somebody that went in there and saw where the layout was? And I thought that when I was doing my channeling, I would think that. And what I realized is Jon Benet doesn't know everything because she was a little girl and she was half asleep, and she doesn't know some things. Other things she was able to tell me. It was hard to get her to open up, and a lot of psychics have had that problem with her. And the other thing, I don't know, I just got creeped out. I wonder if I should drive to my driveway. Yeah, I'm going to drive to my driveway, guys, because I just got creeped out. I'm over by somebody else's house, and in Texas, they send the cops over for every little thing, so I'm just going to drive to my driveway because I'm allowed to be over there. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. A location matters to me because I was over by Whataburger getting my coffee and my cheese sandwich a while ago. And I was in that parking lot and I did a TikTok and I said, no, I can't do the reading, because then 2 cars pulled up on the left of me and the right of me, and I was like, I'm out. I gotta get out of here. Oh my gosh, the chicken has all lights on it. I'll do a walk and talk. I'll go back to my walk and talks. Yeah. You know the chicken that I used to do walk and talks and go by the chicken? He has all lights on him. Last year, I don't remember him having the lights on him. Then again, I never walked when it was dark out. I don't think, because I can't see in the dark. Yeah, I'm just gonna go to like close to my house. I'm close to my house anyway, but just location wise, I need to be close. But I just needed to get in my car to do this video, but because I've been having concentration trouble, and I'm not trying to diss my family or my husband or anything, but it's my own fault because I need to go out for my walk and talks again. I need to do my car things again because I really can concentrate when nobody is talking to me. Like, even just his phone call, it throws me off. I told him once I need like 5 hours. And he was like, well, you can get that when I go to bed. But sometimes I'm just not in the mood to go back to the table and start thinking about scary stories and scary, murders and, locations of the missing when it's nighttime. I don't know. There's something going on with the energy. And 2024, it's not over yet. We only have, a couple more weeks, and there's a lot of revelations. And I hope that Jon Benet is solved. Yeah, that light is, put that one on instead. I hope that it'll be solved, but I don't know. But a lot, the stuff with Diddy, Wendy Williams just came into my head. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's like some people, you will think that they just have dementia. Wendy Williams was too young to have dementia, I thought. But, there's going to be this thing that it's drug related. It's like somebody gave them a drug back in the day, or somebody did something to them that caused them to get sicker and sicker. And so I don't want to go off on a tangent because I could do that every second of my life. And I'm trying to be more focused and organized. So let me read this. And then we'll go about it. But yeah, try to watch the Jon Benet, especially if you're empathetic or you really are interested in the case. I am always interested in that case. And I would love to see Burke again, because the last time we saw him was on Dr. Phil. And he didn't come off good, right? A lot of people, like, on the level, him not being diagnosed with any kind of autism, Asperger's, but, he looks like he's smiling, because he is. And it just reminds me, he's frozen. He's frozen as a 9-year-old. When you have trauma that happens to you, whether you, were in competition with your little sister or not, you wanted that attention you used to have from your parents, and suddenly it was taken away from you, and nothing you did really was looked at anymore. Whether that was the case, and then all of a sudden your sister's gone, your whole life is different, and it wasn't different in a good way. It was different in a horrible way. So you stay at that trauma level. So that's why he stays away. And plus he sues everybody and he wins. And so has Jon Ramsey. So that's why I'm always trying to be careful. At one point I did suspect him, because there was some weird things that was said, allegedly, that, he smeared poop on her candy. She had like a box of candy for chocolates in her room. I don't know why they were in her room, but that he smeared poop there, and he also put poop in her bed, so she would get in trouble for that. She didn't sleep in that bed. That bed was not slept in that night, maybe not even the night before. So I'm wondering where she did sleep. Some people said that she slept in Burke's room in the other bed next to him, because they were so far apart, but I think they could get into each other's room through a walkway, like a railroad type of space. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so let me read my notes and then we'll talk. I don't even know. See, I can't. This is so bad that my chat is not working. I don't know. Okay. All right, Spirit says just carry on. Okay. So, what I have is Who Killed Jon Benet Ramsey by Mystic Brady. Okay. Patsy. The 3-page ransom note, in my opinion, was written by Patsy. I know she said she didn't write it. I know she took some sort of test. Okay, I feel she wrote it with her other hand. And I'll go into why I think she wrote it, but I think she wrote it. I think she wrote it. Okay. In other words, like if she's a lefty, she wrote it with her right hand. If she's a righty, she wrote it with her left hand. Yeah, that's my opinion. Okay, based on so many hours of watching different things. But remember, this was from 6 months ago. So I talked a little bit about the Netflix show. And now I'm going to read my notes from 6 months ago. Okay, so I have, he lied, hit with a bottle, hid her body, all the people in the house. I'm not sure what I meant. Okay. But I'm just going to go through it and then I think it'll click. Maybe it will click. So he lied. Who are we talking about? Hit with a bottle, hid her body, all the people in the house. A belt, mom. She was daddy's girl. Okay, I have a problem with that because I've seen her around 4 years old, 3 and 4 years old, videos of her. She's having fun with her mom and her brother. And then all of a sudden, the father comes closer and her face changes. Okay? When you're that young, you can't hide emotions, right? It was just a worried look. I'm not saying she didn't. She loved her family. She loves her family. To this day, she loves. But she's telling me, or she told me when I channeled her, that he lied, hit with a bottle, hid her body. All the people in the house knew about it. Belt. But I don't feel energetically, and this is kind of like an energetic read, I don't feel Burke. Burke was questioned by Dr. Phil, right? And I rewatched that. I watched anything I get my hands on with Burke as a little kid and then also as an adult. And basically, he doesn't talk about when he hit her with the golf club and she had to get stitches and plastic surgery. Okay? Now, when I was a little girl and I was on that Pocono trip, or maybe it was a different one, but my sister Susan was with me and we would go in the woods walking and I would always be lost without, her. I don't know why we were allowed to, but we were out playing baseball and I had the bat and we got into a fight and I hit her with the bat. She doesn't remember. I hit her in the head. Okay, so yeah, am I a monster? But she ended up getting in trouble because she left me in the woods. I couldn't get home. I didn't know where I was. I have no sense of direction, right? But she was mad at me, and then I hit her. I would always win in a fight, fist fight. We were only a year apart. So anyhow, I hit her with the bat. I mean, she didn't bleed or anything, but she got out of the way. But anyhow, that's not nice. But she ended up getting in trouble because they couldn't find me. I was lost in the Poconos. Okay, and I was the baby, so Anyhow, sorry, I cut my bangs again, and of course I did not do a good job. All right, so I have, he lied, hit her with bottle, hid her body. Who am I talking about? I'm not talking about Burke. I'm not talking about Burke. Burke in the past had hit her. Okay? In the past. All right. Also, she showed me being slapped by, she was fresh or rude, you know, she was little kid things. And she was extra cranky. And I think there's a reason for that. Extra cranky. She shows me energy of summer moon. And, you know, look at my readings in the past of summer moon. I just got a weird feeling. Probably should go home. Anyhow, oh, please God, protect me in my Archangel Michael's light and goodness. Thank you. Yeah, I feel she was SA'd, just like Summer Moon. Anyhow, she's showing me a time where she was cranky, and so she was acting like spoiled, and her mother did smack her. I mean, raise your hand if you were smacked by your parents. Okay. I do have a belt. I don't know when that happened. Okay. No remorse. Jon Ramsey, duper's delight, a smile and a smirk. I did get that from a couple of the videos. Now Burke has the nervous smile. You never really you don't see Burke crying, even when he's a little boy. He comes out of the church and he has a smile on his face and almost laughing. Now, as a kid, I was in a first grade class and a second grade class with the same boy. Every time we would get in trouble, we all had to line up against the wall, right? Old school. 1960s, late 60s to the 70s public school, right? We had to line up. We got hit with the ruler on our hands. I remember that. One time I got spanked by a ruler. That should be illegal. But anyhow, this boy, he would get in trouble, and we would all be standing, you know, against the wall and like, you know, just put our heads down, like wait for it to be over being yelled at. But he would never stop smiling. And the more the teacher would say, wipe that smirk off your face, he would go, and it's just like Burke, right? And he would just smile brighter. Some people, if they don't smile, they'll cry. And they can't do it. They can't afford to let you see that side. I don't feel Burke felt safe. He felt a little safe with his dad. He always, my dad. You could tell he thought like his dad was like a superhero in a way. But I think that he has his own brain, and his mom, I'm sure, was like all encompassed by Jon Benet, and then the cancer, and then Jon Benet being killed. You never really see her with him. And it's really sad. Like, she will say, you know, we got to protect him. We got to do everything to protect him from the media. But you can't really protect him from that. So I'm just wondering if they had like a lot of conversations and a lot of, you know, good talks. I hope so. Because like, I think he's not married. I don't think he's with anybody. I think he lives a sad life, and yeah, he has money. I don't think that brings you happiness. Okay, so, but for Jon Ramsey, I feel like there's a duper's delight, there's a smirk. I don't see him looking sad. Patsy, there's a change in her from like the very beginning and then later on. So she knows something. And so basically, I'm like, Patsy, did you, I don't call her Mrs. Ramsey, because at first I used to call her Mrs. Ramsey, and then she was like, call me Patsy. Same name as your mom. And I was like, oh, that's right. Okay. So she was like, no, Katrina, you know I was up all night. She had the clothes on from the party. Okay? She was up all night. Guys, I'm really scared because I'm seeing like a shadow. So I gotta move this train. I gotta move this train to my house, my yard, okay? It's so hard to do this. I really should start earlier, but I can't get this done in my house because you see all the distractions, how distracted I am out here. Oh, the sky looks beautiful, but foreboding. So I have to just do this on my own outside, and I will be doing Palo Santo because the energy is scary. Oh my gosh, am I in the wrong place? Oh God. See, guys, I have night blindness. Oh, good. Is this my house? 2 white cars and a blue. Okay. Oh. Here I am. Oh, good. Home sweet home. Home sweet home. Now I could do it. Now I could do it. Thank you, God. Now I'm safe. Now I'm safe. Is there 13 people in the house? Okay. Thank you, dear God. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just like in the neighborhood. So it's not like I'm far away from my house, but I was starting to see like a shadow, and it was freaky. So Patsy said I most certainly did not go to sleep because she goes maybe 1 hour passed out because, you know, the note took time, placement took time, and yeah, that was a stage. In my opinion, okay? Let's just say allegedly, in my opinion, why would she put on the same clothes that she had on the night before at a party if she knew she was going to be going on a flight to wherever they were going to, I don't know, Georgia or somewhere, to see the other kids, John's other kids, and have Christmas with them? Why would she be wearing the clothes from the night before? I feel I'm seeing her redo her makeup because she had to wipe away her tears. Does something happen? She goes, you know it did. Okay, but here's the thing. I'm going to read my notes, and here's the thing I think. Something happened, but she was told something happened, and she thought she was protecting Burke. That an accident happened, she was protecting Burke. But really? I believe JR, you know who I'm talking about, father, made up the story and blamed it on Burke so that he knew he can get Patsy to protect Burke. She couldn't get Patsy to protect him because she wouldn't do that. Okay? But you have to remember, she was weakened. She goes, Katrina, I was weakened. I was in a weakened state. I wasn't at my best. And I always was told, don't talk about your cancer as if, it's a death sentence. And it really was. And they did all kinds of treatment that money could buy, because she wanted to have time with her kids. And she thought she was just covering up an accident. And she didn't want anybody to look bad at her son. But her son didn't do it. At another time, her son did a couple cracked up things, But kids do that. Like I told you, I hit my sister with the baseball bat. And then she left me in the woods. She got in trouble. Okay? And then another time, she would always fall asleep early, and we just happened to have a hammer and nails available, a big nail like this, and I hammered. My sister Christine was there, and she was like, don't do it. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to see if she wakes up. And she didn't even remember. And then we told her just recently, and this is like, 60 years later, 50 years later? And now all of a sudden she was mad at me. Okay. It just made a little indentation in the forehead, but it didn't go in. Like, it didn't draw blood or anything. I wasn't gonna, keep on hammering it in. But is that effed up? Yeah, that's effed up, but that is kids. Kids do effed up things. A lot of people walk around with scars. Oh, my sister pushed me off my bike. Oh, my brother, threw a rock at me and I lost my eye. I'm not saying it's right, but families, that's what they do. It doesn't mean they're a murderer. Doesn't mean your brothers and sisters are a murderer. So that's my opinion. That's my take. Because what they do is they show me things. They hey, you think Burke did it, but remember when you did the thing with the hammer? And remember when you did the thing with the bat? Yeah. Yeah, so, okay. All right, let me read my notes. I'm so sad that I can't see any chat. I don't know why that's happening. I wish that I could, because I don't know, if anybody's saying anything. I just tapped my own screen and nothing happened because it's not TikTok. Okay, so, all right, so Burke was 9, and I think in a few weeks he would turn 10 after she died. So I guess he was in 4th grade. A small group of people, I don't know what I was referring to. I think a small group of people know the truth. Ransom money, shame, no kidnapping. Shame, no kidnapping. I don't know what I meant by that. Remember, this was from a year ago. Okay, let's see. 2nd page. I wrote Jon Ramsey. Oh, another card fell out. Wow. Okay. I wrote Jon Ramsey. I was trying to tap into his energy, and I wrote, I don't want to write his name. Then I wrote Burke Ramsey a whole bunch of times, and I said something happened at 9. So, well, we know what happened at 9. Something happened to him at 19. I think he lost his mother then. And something at 23. Something big. Okay. And also, if Burke was the killer, right? Wouldn't he have done it again? Wouldn't we have heard something about him that he did? Okay. Yeah, maybe he's not in a relationship, or somebody told me that he was married or one thing, but no, he's not. I couldn't find anything. So did he scrub himself off the internet? Anyhow, if he was a killer or sick in his mind like that as a child, he would have definitely reoffended. He would have done something after his mom died. Because like she's safely, away. No, it's a no for Burke. Okay. But I have a lot of compassion for him. I feel bad for him. Okay. So, in a way, I wish he would write a book. I would wish he would write his point of view. It would be great. It would be great to understand his point of view. So I have J.R. did it, made the handwriting look like someone writing like Patsy. Oh, I forgot I wrote that. I get her energy on it, though. Because a lot of the words were very feminine. And Patsy was a certain type of writer. Yeah, but I just feel like she was doing it. And matter of fact, I feel like she did that on her own because she wasn't dealing with the other part of it. Fees from brick walls on JB. Chocolate. Feces from brother on Jon Benet's bed and the walls and the chocolate. I talked about that already. Yeah, that's effed up, but you'll see. The jury is out in whether she had a lot of not IBS. What's it called? UTIs. Or not. Okay. But like kids will pee the bed when they're under stress, or there's a stressful thing going on, a lot of screaming, yelling, they don't feel secure, or they're drinking too many liquids before bed. Nobody's monitoring their liquids. They'll pee the bed then, or they're afraid to go to the bathroom. That was me. I used to have dreams that I was on a talking toilet. And my mother used to say, well, wake up and go to the bathroom. Forget about the talking toilet. I said, but he used to say all these things to me. I remember the talking toilet. And then I said, I'm too afraid to go to the bathroom, because the bathroom was, if I was downstairs, bathroom was all the way up 17 stairs, and it was scary. Even if I was upstairs, it was down the hallway, and it was scary. And then my mom told me, your guardian angels always are with you, 24/7. And then I started to go to the bathroom in the toilet. Okay. Anyhow, but that was when they got divorced. My parents got divorced, and I was having a lot of issues with going to the bathroom. So, that could be a lot of stress. Anyhow, okay, that's all on this. And then I drew the house. Apparently, that's a pretty good picture. Okay. I didn't want this to be long, but 1996. Yeah, so I that's what I got with Burke. Something and if he's watching this, please don't sue me. Okay, Burke, was there something really important that happened when you were 19? I know your mom passed, but then again at 23, something important. Those 9, 19, and 23. Okay. Let's see. The 3-page letter, truth found in the lie. Yeah, in the 3-page letter, it's really, look at all these notes. Okay. In the 3-page letter, there's truth inside the lie. Inside the lie, there's truth. Get your rest. Your daughter will be beheaded. Crazy, right? But think about that. At one point they said, get your rest. Your daughter will be beheaded. RN covered up that they killed JB. Who's RN? RN covered up that they killed JB. I'm not sure what that is. She was not dead yet, hit in the head. She was still breathing, and then another person had to strangle her. Like, in other words, if there was an accident, the head injury was so deep and so severe, but she didn't die from that. She died from the strangulation. Maybe they took her to the hospital. Oh yeah, maybe if they took her to the hospital, she'd still be alive, but they didn't want them to find something out. So then they staged something else. And she was wiped down. She was, in her private area was wiped down. And so that's why a lot of the DNA was compromised. The cancer and the sexual abuse, did they have any kind of relation? In other words, Patsy's having cancer was there sexual abuse because Patsy had cancer. Okay, something to think about, allegedly. Perhaps Jon did it and blamed it on Burke. Yes, that's what I feel hot on. I'm sorry, not sorry, okay? Perhaps Jon did it and blamed it on Burke. Patsy didn't know, but Patsy would cover up for Burke. Patsy would not cover up for Jon. Just saying. Okay. Jon convinces Burke that a stranger broke in and did it. Accident, hit in the head, strangled with garrote, and staged. Yes, it was very staged. Even the room she was in, it was staged. Nobody went in that room. That room was a gosh darn mess and creepy. And the rooms that they were in was by the train. The room that they were in was the art room, where she did her art. But that room was supposedly the wine room, but it had no wine in it. Okay, this is just my notes. I take them or leave them. What could happen? Okay, the case of Jon Benet Ramsey, my theory. What happened to Jon Benet Ramsey? 8 a.m. The first cop on the scene was Detective Linda Art. Now, she has a book. I wish I would be able to read it. But a lot of people, she left the force because a lot of people blame her because she shouldn't have let Jon Ramsey, and I agree with this, she shouldn't have let Jon Ramsey go with the neighbor and go search for Jon Benet. But being alone and all these people are in the house and she's the only cop there, and supposedly they had asked for cops to come for hours and nobody was coming, maybe because it was the day after Christmas. I'm not sure, but yeah, they weren't used to this kind of thing. But anyhow, why wasn't she walking around the house? Did she have to stay like where the people were to make sure everybody was okay? And she should have had somebody with her so that she could go, one person could watch the crowd and the other person could go around. And why weren't those people pushed out of the house? Burke should not have been taken out. Okay, but you know why he was. Because Patsy thought he did something that he didn't really do. He did that at other times, but I don't think he did it this time. Did they have a fight when they were doing stuff when they were having a snack and she took his pineapple? Yeah, the pineapple was in her stomach. So she definitely was eating the pineapple with him, and I'm sure he was mad. But I don't get that flow from at that point. I think he was mad. because he would have his little chamomile tea and his pineapple and his attention from his mom. And she was supposed to be in her bed. But she probably got up and wanted to come down. Okay? Or they were going on their little Christmas run to go look for the Christmas gifts. Okay? As kids always do. Okay. All right, so let me turn off the heat. All right, so she called for backup 2 times. Linda Arndt called for backup 2 times. Took so long for backup to come. Jon Ramsey looking at his mail. Okay, he described that he said he was looking at his mail because he thought maybe he'd find another letter from the kidnappers. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Okay. He was looking through his mail. His excuse was he didn't want to seem like he was too casual. Right? But she was trying to say, and a lot of people might be like, everybody's nervous. Some people could just sit and cry. Some people are stoic and they would just, kind of go off into a zone. Right? Everybody who knows how you would act in that way. But he thought he was definitely taking off to go on his plane. And how could you think you're going to do that? Your daughter was found dead. But he's saying that he was looking through his mail to maybe there was another letter that came in. Okay. The killer never left that house. Okay? Take it or leave it. Allegedly, for entertainment reasons only, but I believe in myself. Okay, and I believe what I hear from people on the other side. 10 a.m. No one cared that the kidnapper hadn't called. At 10 a.m., they were supposed to have called. Now, Jon Ramsey said on the Netflix thing that he thought maybe the killers meant 10 p.m. So they were waiting till 10 p.m. When 10 a.m. didn't happen, they waited, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, then 10 p.m. Okay. Maybe the killer made a mistake in the writing and they meant 10 p.m. instead of 10 a.m. Okay. 1:05 p.m. That's when Jon Benet's body was found by Jon Ramsey. Okay. Back up. It took 3 hours. 3 friggin' hours to get back up. Why are they so mean to Linda Arndt? She's by herself. Okay? She admits, and I think she gave up her career. Well, I don't think she was fired, but I think she gave up her career or recanted her story. I think she wrote a book. I'd like to get that book, or if I can get it on tape, because I'm very bad at keeping up with reading. I'm more of a visual auditory learner. Jon Benet's body was moved after the first search. Second location was the wine cellar room. Okay, that was strictly me. I wrote that because that's what I thought. That's what I thought I heard her say. I was one place, Katrina. Then I was lifted up and carried to another place. That room, nobody went in that room. It's too cold in there. Yeah, it's too cold in there. Okay, so that's my opinion. All right. That's what I got psychic. This is all what I get psychically, but I have the facts written down in the time frame. Detective Linda Arndt, Jon Ramsey, 10:30 a.m. was unaccounted for. Okay, she said Jon Ramsey at 10:30 a.m. was not, they didn't know where he was. He was unaccounted for. So I don't know. Was he in the bathroom? Was he in the basement? Where was he? Autopsy. Asphyxia by strangulation. Craniocerebral trauma. The first skull fracture is 1 hour to 1.5 hours later was strangulation. So first was the head trauma. The skull trauma, there was 2 skull traumas. They were so deep, I don't think there was blood from it. They were so deep, as if hit, fall backwards or hit with something heavy, okay? But that's not how she died. How she died was the strangulation. She had head trauma. She would have maybe had a little brain damage if they would have taken her to a hospital. But what she died of was the strangulation and the garrote, that whole thing. 8-inch gash, trauma to her private parts. Well, the 8-inch gash is something else, and then she had trauma to her private parts because they took the paintbrush, the back of the paintbrush, broken piece of wood, and did bad things to her. Not a first-time injury. The trauma to the vagina, according to this was not psychically, this was according to the autopsy, which I had read through. It wasn't a first-time injury. Okay, and then being wiped away. Somebody cleaned her away from DNA. So, in other words, like within 2 hours, first the skull fractures, the 2 skull fractures that she received that first. Then, an hour and a half later, strangled. So, meaning she was alive for the hour and a half to 2 hours. So, you can get like a head injury and then just like be semi-conscious. You're still alive. You have a head injury. Okay. So then I drew this picture. I don't know if you could see it. Crime scene. The neck is strangled and with a garrote. Her hands are above her, tied so tightly. Jon Ramsey said he couldn't get them free. She had tape on her mouth. 8 injury on head. 8 injuries on her head. It was no joke what happened to her head. Broken window. Broken by Jon for a month. That window had been broken a month before the crime happened. So that window was broken. He goes, I thought somebody fixed it. Nobody fixed it. So that window was not just freshly broken. So was the person, the alleged murderer or the kidnapper, in your house for a month? In the basement for a month? No. Wine cellar. Autopsy. Head injury was the skull fracture. Heavy flashlight maybe hit her. No, that's just a maybe, but she definitely had a head fracture that was very, very severe. JR calls his pilot to ready his plane. True fact. JR, Jon Ramsey, calls his pilot. Hey, pilot, get the plane ready. Didn't your daughter go get a kidnapping, and maybe she's not alive? Get it ready. Okay, we gots to go. Allegedly for entertainment reasons. Asphyxiation, 45 minutes to 2 hours later than the head injury. Okay, so like I said, this comes from facts of the autopsy. All right, she was injured in her head trauma. Then 45 minutes to 2 hours later, after 2 hours, the whole thing was done. But the last thing was the asphyxiation. That's what she died of. She didn't die of the head injury. Maybe she would have had a brain injury. Maybe she would have died in the hospital. But you never know. We'll never know because they never brought her. Allegedly, the kidnapper broke in and never took her? Okay. Sexual wooden chips inside. The hymen was broken. Vagina was wiped down. True story. 4, pineapple in the stomach. Pineapple with milk in the stomach. So very soon. All right, so these are my 4 points. Head injury, skull fracture. A heavy object had to hit her, such as a flashlight, but allegedly, I don't know. I think she could have been pushed back and fell and hit a certain way. Or she fell off a chair, fell backwards, hit her head on tile. Okay, don't know. All right. Number 2, asphyxiation. Number 3, sexual wooden chips found inside of her. Hymen was broken. Vagina wiped down. 45 minutes to 2 hours later from the head injury. Okay, so in other words, head injury, maybe that knocked her out, whether it was an accident or not. But what was not an accident was tape on the mouth, arms over the head, staging, a garrote, and another thing made, and then paintbrush, to injure her further. Male DNA in underwear from the factory. And what a lot of people don't remember is she had dolls that were like life-size dolls. And when she was in a store, I don't know if she was in New York or another store maybe in Colorado, but she begged her mother to buy her these big bloomers. And she said she couldn't wear them, but she could put them on her dolls, because the dolls were bigger than her. She had these big life-size dolls, right? One of them looked like her. Anyhow, those underwear could have been the underwear that they took off the doll, put on her, or took out of her dresser and put on her. All right? And got rid of the other underwear. Patsy not wearing the clothes from the night before. She was wearing the clothes from the night before. Okay. And also Patsy did not shower. She didn't shower or take a bath the night before. She just got up, put her makeup on, went down to get coffee. Allegedly. This is all allegedly. Yeah, that was a lot. There's broken window. Okay, yeah. I think that's it. Grand jury said go forward with the trial, but then everything was like kept quiet. And Jon Ramsey insists that it's somebody from outside that came in. Burke, Linda Hoffman, feces on wall, bed, box of candy. Somebody said that they have a recording, and Patsy thought she hung up the phone, but they were still recording, and you hear a voice saying, "What did you find?" Ramsey changed her up. Okay, that's all I have. And oh, wait. Oh no, that's Aries. What's this? That's Leo. Your girl did a lot of work. Okay. Always. But it's so stressful. It's stressful to do this because, it's just my opinion. Only 15 people here, so. Okay. Now, these are the cards that I had picked over a half a year ago. Okay. I guess it was a half a year ago. was probably last June or something. Last June or May. I'm not even sure. I think it was even longer than that. But anyhow, so what I do is I shuffle on, what happened to Jon Benet Ramsey. And these are crime cards. I got surveillance camera may provide important clues. I got in the future, the killer may admit guilt. Now, there's been a lot of people that have come out and said that they killed her, or they have a shrine of pictures of her. You know what? There's a lot of perverts out there. There's a lot of pedophiles out there. And there's a lot of people that are sick in their mind, in their brain. And they just like see her, lit up on the screen. And they got a weird affliction. And, I'm not saying they're normal. They're not normal people. But there's been so many people that came out and said they did this. But then they weren't even in Colorado. And so I'm hoping the killer will admit it. Already interviewed the killer. They already interviewed the killer. Killer may have an item belonging to the victim. Grab some boots. Okay. Lies, deception, and a potential cover-up. Yes, please. Definitely deception. Witnesses may fear coming forward with valuable information. This card is scary. Look what it says. Help. Killer has a history of committing crimes. The murder weapon used will provide valuable clues. Well, everything's been destroyed. Except the house is still there. I think it's empty. A witness may not be fully disclosing all of the facts. A witness, this is true. A witness may not be fully disclosing all of the facts. I would re-interview all those people that came over to the house. Everybody re-interviewed. And I think they did, but I'm not sure. Anyway, guys, I gotta go. Please let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this or any of questions that you might have. I love you. And remember, this is for entertainment reasons only. And, allegedly, in my humble opinion. Love you.